He must have came in the room to get ready for bed, right? And he saw that she was dead. And it did something to him. Probably gave him a heart attack or something. So I hate to say it. I don't want to say it, but spiritually, he gonna follow right behind her. That's the same thing that happened when my cousin told me that who was it? Mother Giles? Yeah, I think they said Mother Giles. They put Mother Giles in the chair after mommy. And I said to my cousin was telling me, what came to me was that whoever sit in that chair gonna die if they not in the right place like Mother Wilson. Whoever go sit in that chair is gonna eventually leave this world. But I didn't too much tell my cousin that, which was Renee. I didn't tell her. But she was like, yeah, they talking about they putting Mother Giles in a chair. Nobody shouldn't be sitting in that chair. That was mama chair. This is what Renee was saying. And I'm not in the church no more. Because this is after mommy died. So once mommy died, I didn't too much go to the church no more. As often, you know? That was my time that I was out of the church. So I was like, mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, they putting Mother Giles in the chair, talking about that's where she gonna sit at. I think they had said that supposedly Mother Anderson had gotten into the spirit, and when she got in the spirit, she went and put Mother Giles in the chair. She went and put Pastor Glover up on the pulpit in the chair, and then she went and sat down, and she was imitating how long the sleeve's supposed to be on your arm and how your collar's supposed to be closed up, and the watch, she took her watch off and she took her ring off. When Renee told me that, I said to myself, no, that's not God. That's not God. That's not God. Because how, you have to look at it. How is God going to go against his word? They talk about God being the groom and he coming to get his bride. You talk about how he telling us to stay with our husbands and stay with our wives, and how he had that Hosea go and get Leah, and she was a prostitute. I think that was her name. Yeah. Oh no, so her name was Goma. Adulterous wife. So her name was Goma, not Leah. So if he tells him to go and get her, knowing God knows that this lady was out there committing adultery, sleeping with other men, and he told Gomer to go out there and get her. So here's a prime example to let us know that regardless of what your wife or husband is doing, just like God forgive this woman in the Bible story, we are supposed to forgive them. So now, how he going to sit there and come into service and use his God-given own Holy Ghost spirit to go and take her ring off her finger? So I say, no, that was a signal to the church, as well as to her and Bishop Anderson at the time he was pastor, letting them know that God knows how their relationship is, and he's exposing it to the church. So now, The ring represents I'm putting it in my turn because right now I ain't got the right word. But the ring represents the bond between the husband and wife. So if she took her ring off, then that means that her bond to her husband is not right. And he took his ring off. After that happened, everybody started taking off their rings. You ain't supposed to wear no jury. That's where the no wearing jury came in. Because no wearing jury was never talked about in House of Prayer. But when after that happened, oh, you ain't had no business with no ring on. You ain't had no business with no earrings on. You ain't had no business with your necklace on. Because they want to put all of that in the category of because Mother Anderson was in the spirit, supposedly, and took off her rings. Now, just like I said, that was God was exposing their marital life to the church as well as letting them see where they were with one another. Now here's this catch. Even though he did all of that, does not mean that they couldn't come back together as a husband and wife. It does not mean that God could not have drawn them together, or God could not work on their marriage, or God could not give them more love one for another. But God is letting them know that's where their love is. They don't have no love for one another. So don't come throwing it on God, talking about God don't want you to wear no wedding ring. That is a lie. And I would say it. But fortunately, I wasn't there. Because you're not going to tell me not to indicate that I belong to somebody. That's the purpose of the ring, to let the world know that you are in a bond. That's what I can think. You are in a bond with somebody. You belong to somebody. Okay? So even when I was out there, me and my husband wasn't together, my ring stayed on my finger. I never took off my wedding bands, my wedding rings. When people will come in contact with me and they'll be like, you married? I say, yeah, but me and my husband are together. And so when they want to get serious with me, I'll be telling them, I'm sorry. I'll be telling them, I'm sorry, I'm married. And you know what they would say to me? But you're not together with them. I say, no, I'm not together with them, but I'm together by God's law. But I will always use that excuse when I ain't want to be bothered with somebody. So now, going on with that, there was something else I was going to say. So now, with that being said, so now people ain't wearing no rings. I ain't got nothing to do with all other jewelry because I wear the other jewelry. So I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know, they don't want to wear it, they ain't going to wear it. But you're not going to put God, you're not going to try to tell me that God said not to wear a ring when he permits marriage and he's committed to us as a husband. He's my husband, even though I'm married, but he's still my husband. So now back to the chair. So now I told my cousin, I said, I don't know about that. Oh, let me just throw this in right quick. Now, the Joneses was there. And the Joneses said they had a meeting on the Joneses. Talking about the Joneses, kids, and how they dress. Solandra would come in there with splits in her dress. But her split wasn't that high. They just saw, because she wasn't saved, so she didn't wear no long dress down to her ankle. So she had a split in her dress, and her dress would show a little of her thigh, the top part of her knee close to her thigh. Was it her thigh or her lower leg? Whatever you call it. But you didn't see nothing because it wasn't like she walked and the split rise and you see everything and then she walk again. No, when she walked, the material will come over and you would just see the little bit. I remember that. I was young, but I remember, and she was young. So they had a meeting on them. This was a big meeting. And they got in the meeting, they started talking about. And they were saying that the Lord came in and told us how to dress and that's how we supposed to do. He ain't saying nothing about the hat. She didn't sit there and pull her hat down no more. And he said that my cousin told me that the Joneses said that was not God. That didn't have anything to do with God. That was people and their feelings and making it seem like it was God. So when she told me that, I was like, wow. You know, when you get in God, you know when God is doing something and when God is not. So you have the authority to say that's not God and shame the devil. But me not there, I'm like saying, wow, really? That wasn't God? Right? So he in the meeting, he said that if she gonna become pastor, he leaving because she talked too much. He leaving. His family is leaving, and they staying there because she talked too much. Maybe I was in my late 20s or early 30s. I didn't know what was going on, right? And he said that she gonna be a stumbling block. He specifically said it. I'm not staying because she gonna be a stumbling block to me. And the spirit was like, I can't even explain it. The spirit was like kind of moving up in me. And before I knew it, I was like, ah. And Mother Giles was sitting next to me. And she kept pulling out my leg, telling me to be quiet. But the Holy Ghost wouldn't let me be quiet. And before I know, I had blooded out and said, then you step over her. And everybody got quiet. We got Silence of the Lambs. And it was like, oh my God, did I really say that? But I couldn't even shut up. In my mind, I was saying, oh my gosh, Sharon, you said that you weren't supposed to say that. But the Holy Ghost was kept speaking. It was the Holy Ghost. It was not me. And the Holy Ghost said, if she gonna be a stumbling block, then you step over her and you keep on going. Now I was late 20s, early 30s when I said that. And I'll be honest with you, that's what I did. Whatever situation came in my way through her or from her, I just kept stepping over it. I just kept stepping over it. But he didn't do it. That was God's words. And when I said that to him, let me just put this in there. When I said that to him, I said, well, just step over her. I said, you know she is stumbling block. You step over her and you keep going and keep serving the Lord. And Mother Giles was like laughing. And everybody was looking at me. And Sammy was in. Sammy was like, he gave that look like, oh my God, look at her speaking at such a young, prophesying at such a young age. Everybody was silent. Bishop didn't say, I didn't get scolded. Nobody said, you ain't got nobody saying that. When I say silence, it was silence of the lambs. Nobody had nothing to say. And I got so scared and timid. I was like, and we must have had like a 2 to 3 minute silence. It was like people were trying to get themselves together. It was like God spoke and he ain't want nobody else to say nothing. Y'all gonna sit down and marinate my words coming through this young girl. Somebody that y'all overlook and don't want to pay attention to. That you're going to overlook. Because I didn't have no idea what my life was going to be like after that situation. But he had everybody silent. Nobody wasn't saying nothing. Ooh, we go over look so nice. It had nobody saying nothing. And then after that, Bishop was like, well, it shouldn't have. He got on my bandwagon. He said it shouldn't even matter. You keep serving God regardless. Right? Don't let her stop you from serving God. And he just sat there and he was like, Yeah, because when I said that, he just looked, he had that face like, that is God. So I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing. His wife looked at him. Evangelist Jones turned, looked at him. And everything. But back to the chair. So just like I said, the Lord had put in me, and I wasn't even saved at the time because I had done left the church after mommy died. And that whoever sits in that chair is going to be punished. No, whoever sits in that chair is going to die. That point blank, that's just how it is. Because whoever, in my definition of it, is that whoever sits in that chair, if they don't have the same heart as Mother Wilson and feel the same way as Mother Wilson towards me and toward, no, I don't want to say me first. I want to say towards God and towards me, they're going to be severely punished. And I'm here to tell you, everybody that sat in that chair died. The only person sitting there still alive is Mother Anderson. And I'm here to tell you that so much is happening to Mother Anderson. The last big thing that happened to her was her house burned down. Now, I ain't got nothing against Mother Anderson, but I'm one for the truth. And as a mother of the church, a mother in God first. I don't know where they get this from with titles. That is nowhere in the Bible where God pointed out a mother to rule his people. A mother is supposed to help the children. Supposed to have good advice and whatever else that go along with it to help children. Now, I'm not going to lie. Mother Anderson has came to me and encouraged me and talked to me. I'm not going to knock that. But it's not how I look at it with her. It's not what I think about it with her. It's what God thinks. And if God is not pleased with her life, just like he said, anybody sit in that chair is either going to die or be severely... He done changed the dying to severely punished. Because anybody that got in that chair after mommy got up in there, they died. They stayed in the chair for a certain period of time. But after a while, God took them on out of that chair. Now, Mother Giles was the one that went in there. I just got to speak the truth. Mother Giles stayed in that chair for however long she stayed in there. After a while, things started happening to her, whether it was her mind or whether it was her body, and she left out from the chair. She left out from the chair, left out from the church. She didn't die yet, but eventually she left this world. Then Mother Wright sat in the chair. I don't know whether she had any sickness or whatever the case may be, but eventually she left out of the church. She stopped coming to church. And then eventually she passed away. Now, should I say this? Mother Anderson, she in the chair. But she leaves the church. She be out the church. She don't come to church. We don't see her for a long period of time. And then when she come back to testify, this and that was going on in her life. She ain't dead yet. She ain't died yet. I don't know. Maybe the Lord working with her, and he can change his mind, because he did it with Hezekiah. Gave him 15 more years. But he sure enough didn't do it with David. So you don't want to get into a predicament like it was with David, and God don't want to hear your prayer and still do what he say he gonna do. You want it to be like Hezekiah. You want to do all you can to change the thoughts and the mind of God so that you can not only live longer, but you can grow into him where he loves you. So that's it. That's the story in reference to. So I was talking about Bishop and Mother McInnis, Elder McInnis, and the dream that I had. So I don't know, but I pray God I'm wrong. I pray God that don't happen. I pray God he lived much longer and longer years after her. But according to that dream, he went after her. And now that I'm thinking about it, in the dream, it's like I felt it in the dream that he died after her. Even though they both was dead, it could easily be interpreted that he could have died first and then she could have died. But in the dream, she was lying up on a pillow and she had her hand a certain way, like she just passed away. And the way he was a notch down, a few inches down away from her face, more so next to her chest, but not on her chest. And his hand was like over towards her, and his legs was a certain way, and his face. It was their faces that got me. His face was lying there, eyes closed, but it wasn't no sleep. And the way it looked, and the way I interpreted in the dream, in my spirit, in the dream, was that he walked in. They both walked in from church, and They had on church clothes, but yet and still it looked like they had on pajamas. So it could mean that they came from church, right? Got into their pajamas, and then he was in the bathroom. I'm presuming that there was a bathroom inside the room that they was in, because it was a big room. They was in a gigantic room. And he comes out the bathroom with his pajamas on, and when he see that she died, then he died too. So it's not so much that he died the same time, or I mean the same day, because it wouldn't be the same time. He died the same day. In the dream, it looked like, in the dream, it seems like it was the same day. But in reality, it don't have to be that. It could be years later. But it could be the same way. But the reason for his death is going to be because she died. Heartbroken, miss her, whatever the case may be, because that's a bond, a husband and wife bond together. And I've always admired their marriage. They supported one another. They supported their kids. They was a loving family. Now, I don't know, they could have had their little ups and downs in there. I don't know. But in that dream, it was like they didn't have no issues with one another. Their marriage was on top of the rocks. On top of in the sky, pie and by in the sky. But he left after her. So, I don't know how it's going to be. But that's crazy, though. Okay, so that is my story on the McINNIS death. So that will be the title of this video. This audio, rather. The McINNIS death. Insight on the McINNIS death. Y'all have a blessed day. And this is November 22nd, 2023. And it is now 11:35 a.m.